Chapter 54. The original plan was for me to finally go back to Cebu. Staying on Manila for another day or two wasn't a part of it. Pagod lang ang nanaig sa akin kanina kaya naisipan kong bukas na lang o sa isang araw umuwi. I reached my condo unit and went inside. Laking gulat ko na lang makita ang aking pinsang si Beth, nakabusangot na nakahiga sa aking kama. What the hell are you doing here? I dropped my bags. Napatayo ka agad si Beth na mukhang nagulantang din. Napanguso siya tsaka kumalma. Nahigang muli. Sorry, I kinda crashed. Crashed? Or, translation, you ran away. Was that? Seriously, what the hell are you doing here? Binasahe ko ang sentido at umupo sa kanyang tabi. Binigyan ko kasi sila ng spare ni Romina in case. In case na nga, eto kay Beth. Panigurado. Chris, kung hindi pa ako aalis sa Cebu ay baka ikamatay ko. It's a toxic environment. She lazily said, "What's up with you?" Maraming Beth. Umikot ang aking mga mata. I didn't bother to ask her any more questions dahil sa pagod ay nahiga na lang ako sa kanyang tabi. Well, slowly, I told Beth all the things that happened. Maybe explain things to her a bit or to myself rather. Wala naman siyang ibinibigay na reaksyon kaya baka hindi niya ako pinakikinggan pero ayos lang sa akin. I was staring at my lovely ceiling while talking. Maybe I was really talking to myself and I figured it was better. Well, Beth mumbled a few things to confirm I wasn't alone after all. Nakaidlip ako ng kaunti ngunit gabi na nang magising ako. Inanggulo ko ang ulo patungo sa isang tabi upang panoorin ang kalakhan ng metro at ang kasagsagan ng trapiko nito sa ibaba. I blinked and got up to shower. Iniwan naman ni Beth ang kanyang sling bag at tsinelas kaya baka umaaligid lang siya. Siguro ay hindi mapakali o di kaya nagugutom katulad ko. Suot ang puting spaghetti strap at maikling palda at tsinelas ay lumabas akong unit para humanap ng makakain. Pati na rin ang hanapin ang magaling kong pinsan. There should be some logical reasons why my cousin's here in Manila alone and looking a bit stressed. Hindi naman kasi yun umaalis ng bahay, ng isla, nang walang sapat na dahilan. Well, siguro ay nagre-rebelde kina tito at tita o baka naman mayroong matinding kritiko sa kanyang academics. All the reasons why I need to confront her. Offer some help? But knowing Beth, she likes to do everything on her own. Sinigurado ko ang aking cellphone habang naglalakad. Ang mga text kanina at kahapon ay nadagdagan lamang. Lalo na kina Papa at Harold. I scrolled more and more. I pursed my lips when I found none of what I wanted. Kaagad kong kinastigo ang sarili sa pag-aabang. So, what if there's no text? Ano ngayon kung sa buong maghapon ay walang dumating na kahit ano? Sa kalagitnaan ng aking paghahanap pa sa cellphone at paglilinga ay muntik na akong mabangga sa isa pa sa mga pillars sa lobby. My mouth parted only to dry up from much oxygen exposure. I watched Beth inside the hotel restaurant as she talked with someone, a male, and it seemed like they were not just that casually talking. Luminga ako sa aking paligid na tila ba may makakahuli sa aking naninilip. Kakaunti lamang ang tao sa restaurant dahil magmamadaling araw na. Kitang-kita ko sina Beth at ang kanyang kausap sa loob kahit pa nasa pinakasulok silang banda. The man looked like in his late 20s, early 30s, tops maybe. I was in a complete shock. He was sporting a white button-down shirt with its sleeves rolled to his elbows. His slacks indicating those ripped muscles thighs. He was a walking sin to be exact. Holy shit, Sister Beth. Looking sharp and dapper, now slightly rugged because of his constant frowning and tightening jaw. This your boyfriend, little cousin? Oh my God. Well, I'm talking to myself, you know. Well, I didn't know this was possible. Should I be worried? Burado na ang lahat ng iniisip kong pagre-rebelde at napalitan ng sekretong pagkikita. Sikretong pagmamahalan hanggang napunta yun sa pagbubuntis ng aking pinsan. My thoughts were swirling uncontrollably, too bedazzled of the materialized thought of her finally having a conquest. Hindi ako kaagad naka-aksyon sa marahang kamay na umikot sa aking baywang. The thick smell of spices on a cold day attacked my senses. A large hand easily maneuvered around my waist. "What are you doing here? It's already late and it's cold." Gab softly kissed my temple. I angled my head to take a better look at him. Gab didn't even bother to change, I realized. He's still wearing his suit, still looking polished and sharp. Napanguso ako. "What are you doing here, Gab?" Binalik ko sa kanya ang tanong at pinagdiinan yun. "Kumain ka na ba? Muli niyang malalim na bulong. Hindi ako pinakinggan. I didn't care what he said or how ridiculously good he looked. I didn't want to hear his husky voice or see him. I didn't want to be near him after all the things. Pero bakit yun ang ginagawa ko ngayon? Parang hindi pa sapat ang aking mga natam mo. I glared at him but he obviously ignored it again. He was so chill. Dumapo ang kanyang tingin sa aking hubad na mga balikat. Nagkaroon ng komosyon sa kanyang naniningkit na mga mata. "What?" I said. I heard his sigh of disapproval and then he immediately held my hand. A jolt of electricity went through me. I tried to pry it away but he only held tighter. Nilapag niya ang mabigat na braso sa aking mga balikat, kaya't natapos ang paninindig ng aking mga balahibo. He then guided us towards the restaurant. The staff had already greeted us and a waiter followed. Marahang pinaghiwalay-hiwalay ni Gab ang aking mga daliri upang ang malalaking kanya ang ipasok sa gitna noon. Something warmed me up. Kahit na hindi ko alam kung tama ba ito. Kung maaaring itama pa ba? I couldn't believe myself that I was doing this again, playing with the devil himself. Isang hawak at tingin lamang niya sa akin sa paraang gustong-gusto ko ay nalilimutan ko ang lahat. I was longing for this and fuck it, it's just so wrong. "Chris!" A voice called and I realized that it was Beth. I completely forgot that she's here with her boyfriend. Beth pointed at their table, a face a bit flushed. I looked at her date who nodded at me in welcome. I pouted. "It's okay." Gab tilted his head to whisper. Huminga akong malalim at hindi siya ulit tiningnan. For all I care, I can dine alone, he can dine alone, he didn't even have to come here. Pagkatapos ayusin ang table ng mga staff ay naupo na kami. Binati ko ang dalawa habang si Gab naman ay nakipagkamay. As we ordered, I kicked Beth's feet under the table but she only glared at me in return. "Bitch," I mouthed. Ang pakilala ni Beth sa lalaki is si Carlos ay isang aero engineer na kanyang kaibigan lamang. Isang kaibigan na naging sekreto pa ang pagkikita dito pa sa Maynila. Kaibigan my ass. I was just a bit surprised when Gab and Carlos already knew each other. "This is a surprise, Mr. Damiano." Carlos sipped his wine and looked at me and back to Gab, looking a bit skeptical. "What are you doing here anyway?" Gab raised his brow casually. "Visiting. You?" "Same," ani Gab at inilapag ang braso sa likuran ng aking bangko. Ang kanyang mga daliri ay naaabot ang aking balikat at nagsisimula iyong gumuhit ng kung ano-ano doon. Umayos na ako ng upo. I could feel Beth's gaze but I ignored her. Meron din naman siyang sikreto ah. Are you my cousin's boyfriend, Carlos?" Matamis na tanong ko sa lalaki. Napatigil si Carlos sa pag-aayos ng pinggan ni Beth at ang aking pinsan naman ay sinamaan ako ng tingin. "Not yet," Carlos answered truthfully and I saw Beth heave a sigh. I began berating him, asking his age and address, his whereabouts, and just where the hell did he came from and why we haven't even seen him till now. Beth was obviously taking control of their privacy for about 6 months now, which meant my dear little cousin had been secretly having an affair for a time being. This little minx. Shh, baby. They can take care of themselves. Gab nuzzled his nose behind my ear. He pulled my chair even closer to his. Mabuti na lamang at may carpet dahil baka tumunog ng upuan ko sa kakahila niya. Napatikim ako nang unti-unting namula ang mga pisngi. Damang-dama ko ang init na nagmumula sa dibdib ni Gab kaya naman hindi ko maramdaman ang aircon. My fingertips touched his chest as I gently pushed him away. This is crazy. I haven't seen him like... Carlos chuckled and whispered something to Beth. Halos magpalit ng mukha ang dalawa sa pagbubulungan. Sumingkit ang mga mata ko kay Carlos at binalik yun kay Gab. I hope that you can vouch for your friend. Just look at what he's doing to my cousin. I whispered grimly at Gab, my palms finding his left thigh. Yes, baby. Gab groaned as he shifted a bit. Binawi ko ang kamay at nagsimulang kumain gamit ang dalawa. Mas namula lalo ang aking mga pisngi nang maisip kong ano ang nagawa. Mas marami pa akong naisip bukod doon na mas ikinapula ng aking buong mukha. Si Beth na kanina patahimik ay napanguso. She was observing me and Gab and at the same time paying attention to her not yet boyfriend. After this, we're so definitely talking. She put air in her cheeks and tried to mimic the redness of my face. I rolled my eyes at her at narinig ko ang kanyang masaganang halakhak. Natapos ang hapunan. Tumungo na kami sa elevator para akyatin ang aking unit. Hindi ko alam kung pinapasok na ba ni Beth si Carlos doon at kung may ginagawa na sila doon. I best tried to keep away the picture in my mind. Thanks for letting me crash. Aalis na rin ako ngayon. I'll stay on Carlos' place for tonight, so don't worry. Napahinto ako sa paglalakad sa hallway at tilingon ang dalawang lalaking ilang metro ang layo sa amin ni Beth. Muntik ko na siyang kurutin sa singit. What the hell were you thinking, Beth? Why didn't you say anything to us? You don't trust us? Sabi ko at binuksan ang aking pinto, still baffled. It's not. It's just, you know me. Mabilis na dinampot ni Beth ang kanyang mga gamit at tsinelas. Bineso niya ako at minwestra niya ang kanyang cellphone. Sasabay na ako sa iyong pauwi ha? Just text me, okay? Don't worry. Yun na lang ang huling sinabi ni Beth. I was left speechless near the door frame. Mabilis namang kinuha ni Carlos ang mga gamit ni Beth at nagpaalam na. He and Gab patted each other's backs before nodding, and he assured me that he's going to take care of Beth. But I'm not an inch convinced. I blinked a few times after Gab softly locked the door. Relax, Grace. Carlos Lopez is an old friend. Mapagkakatiwalaan yon. His big hand cupped my jaw. I don't care. She's my cousin, and they're spending the night together. What if they do something? We are spending the night together too. Tinaasan ako ni Gab ng kilay bilang pagpapaalala. Sumingkit ang aking mga mata. I realized that he's invading too much of my personal space, so I stepped back, but he easily pulled me back. No, we're not. You will leave, sabi ko. Hindi ako aalis dahil mag-uusap tayo. His tone held authority. You said you're just visiting, sabi ko. Umayos ng tayo si Gab. Kaya naman mas lalo kong naramdaman ang panliliit. He's a head taller than me or so. I find out. Our height difference is very suffocating. I couldn't breathe properly and my cheeks began to feel like they are swelling. Binaba ni Gab ang tingin sa akin. Ang isang kamay ay nakaikot na sa aking bewang. Kinukulong ako. I hate you so much. I hate how I'm reacting towards you. I hate how despite everything, the chance of you and me that you pushed at the confrontation earlier sounded heaven in my ears. This one still hurt? His large finger massaged the bruise that had formed on the side of my neck. Like a bitch! It's all your fault! I shouted. Gab groaned, his eyes displaying wrath. As he looked at the other bruises, his jaw tightened as his head dipped low. Napakagat ako sa labi nang maramdaman ang mainit na halik ni Gab sa aking leeg. My breathing ceased when he started to drag his lips where all the bruises had formed. Sa aking leeg, panga at pulsuhan. His lips were moving gently on my skin but it didn't feel that way. It was rough and demanding. His lips leaving my skin burning. Nang matapos si Gab ay umayos siyang muli ng tayo upang mapagmasdan ang kanyang ginawa. We're going to talk. It sounded as if he's convincing himself. His hand gently cupped the side of my neck, drawing lazy circles on my jaw. His masculine scent registered on my brain. Marahan ang pagbagsak ng aking mga talukap dahil sa antok na biglang nararamdaman. Isang hakbang ko lamang ay babagsak na ako sa kanyang malapad na dibdib. Just talk. He repeated forcefully and grunted. Immediately, his hand stopped and I almost whimpered. Damn it, ito ba? Ito ba, Chris? Ang estadong kayang mang-iwan? Ito bang isang haplos lamang ay giba akong kaagad? Make it fast. I'm already sleepy. I murmured and sat on the coffee table. Nakasunod kaagad sa akin si Gab na umupo sa tapat kong couch. Ang kanyang mga nakabukang hita ay pinapagitnaan ang aking. Gab looked at me, his stare going deadlier by the second. I shifted on my seat. Start with a bistro. You bought it on purpose, right? Tumaas ang aking kilay. To get to you, yes. With a hidden motive, tell me, Gab, was I a part of your plan of revenge for your mother? Did you plan on making me fall so you'll eventually leave me with a broken heart, knowing that you're my sister's fiancé? Kahit anong sagot niya riyan ay parang kay sakit, para akong kandilang unti-unting nauupos. No, I don't play like that. Newsflash! You just did, stupid! Humalukip-kip ako. Tila ba gusto kong sipain ang pagmumukha ng lalaking ito na mahal ko. My turn. Nagtagis ang kanyang panga. Nagsisi ka ba nung iniwan mo ko? May mga pagkakataon bang gusto mong bumalik sa akin? Tanong ni Gab. Nag-iwas ang aking tingin, hindi nagpapatalo. Suddenly, I felt his hand on top of my knees, squeezing gently. How dare him demand an answer to that like all the things I did for him was just... Yes, my voice was solemnly quiet, almost like a prayer. Gab's eyes sparkled despite the longing in them. It's wrong to still want you knowing you're soon to be wed. And what's worse was that it was for Alina. Shh, I'm sorry. I fucked up and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sabi niya, did you even try to find me pagkatapos kong umalis? At kung ganoon, bakit hindi ko naramdamang hinahanap mo ko? Not a single postcard, a letter, or a message online. There was no evidence that you even searched for me. Hindi ko man gusto ay nagbitak ang aking boses. All those times that I had been recovering, in my daydreams, I kept imagining that there would be this luxurious car that pulled up on our driveway demanding me, or maybe a secret letter that would assure me that Gab was just on the other side of the room. There had been no signs of him through the years. Pakiramdam ko ay wala man lang akong iniwan doon, kung hindi ang dati kong sarili lamang. Why are you saying that? I did everything to find you. Maigi kong pinapabantayan si Gab, lalo na sa kanyang mga naging lokasyon. I almost searched the entire US for you, but I just couldn't understand why it's not enough. And that's because I wasn't in the US. I looked away, frightened that my tears would freely flow. Napaawang ang bibig ni Gab. Iba't ibang emosyon ang sumalakay sa kanyang mga mata. He rained foreign curses and I flinched a bit. Gab remained silent for minutes or an eternity, and then the next thing happened so fast. Sinalo niya ang ilalim ng aking mga hita at binuhat ang aking bewang upang ibagsak ako sa kanyang mga hita. Marahas ang kanyang mga halik na pinaulan sa aking mga naghihintay na labi. Just as I thought. Fuck. I fucking knew it! Gab pulled away, my lipstick hovering faintly on his lips. You got married, right? There was a formal ceremony where everybody was present that you and Alina... Damn it, no! There was none of it that happened. Everybody got mad when I told them we decided to get married right away. Hindi yun totoo dahil kahit peking kasal ay hindi ko kaya. We fooled everybody. Alina understood this. We discussed the matters at hand that time and it came up with a solution. I slapped his chest twice. Mabilis niyang nakuha ang aking mga kamay. He said it like he solved an equation. Liar! Ang sabi ni Papa sa akin ay nagpakasal ka raw at ayaw mo na akong makita. Na ilayo niya ako sa pinakamalayong parte ng mundo dahil hindi mo ako kayang makita. Papa wouldn't lie about this. I squirmed, but he held me only tighter. Magulo ang aking aksyon kaya naman tumilamsik na ang aking mga luha sa kanyang damit. He's lying again. He's always lying. Hindi ko na alam kung ano ang totoo sa kanya. He says that he didn't get married but my papa always said otherwise. Chris, I had been searching for you for a damn fucking long time and he hid you away from me. Your father. Humigpit ang yakap ni Gab sa akin. No, you're lying. My papa wouldn't lie and you always do. Governor Nicklaus doesn't want me for you. That's why. He's protecting you from me. Just look what I did to you. Gab silenced me with his mouth, his lips going over mine solemnly. The torturous kiss was slow, tongue on tongue. My body burned and the waterfall from my eyes couldn't contain it. A liar was always a liar. This man had been lying on my face since the first time that I had met him. All I did was to sacrifice for him. Kung kaya't hindi ko makuha kung bakit nagpapakababa na naman ako para sa kanya at kung bakit tila kay sakit kung hindi ko siya makukuhang muli, kay lungkot at kay bigat. Gusto kitang bitawan noon pa man pero ang hirap, hindi ko kaya. And when you left me, Gab kissed me once again but this time, it was demanding and needy. Like he was explaining those years of pain without me. Napakapit ako sa kanyang kwelyo. Hinihigit siya patungo sa akin. My mind had long stopped working when he kissed me as if he's worshipping me. The thought that kept running now was the one that I'd been recalling. Every once in a while. Sometimes, a non-stop thought every night. Please, come back to me. I'll do everything to prove them all wrong. The money, the company, I'd surrender everything. But I can't do that without you by my side. Mahigpit akong niyakap ni Gab. Marahang dinampi-dampi ang dulo ng mga daliri sa aking mga sugat at pasa. This warmth in his arms was all that I craved. His tears mixing with mine. His soulful eyes and promises, even those he couldn't keep, I was willing to give it a try once more. One last time. Because ever since I had been his, but most importantly, he was mine. Gusto mo na bang bumalik ulit sa akin? Dahil hinihintay lang kita. Hinawakan ako ni Gab sa panga upang tingnan mariin. I kept looking from his left eye to his right eye that it got too dizzy. Matagal na panahong hinanap ko ang sagot sa kanyang mga mata na natagpuan ko sa kanyang mga labi. Gab, I moaned as I closed my eyes when I was the one who kissed him. One last time, Chris. One last time. I would give my all and gamble once more. Sa huling pagkakataong ito ay papayagan kong muli ang aking sarili na isugal ang lahat ng sa akin. Huling laban ito ng aking pusong wasak na. Ang natitirang dignidad at respeto ko sa sarili ay hahayaan kong ilaban at isugal kong muli. I may not look at myself at the mirror the same way again, but I knew that once in my life, I tried. I had loved this much and I had hurt this much, but I fought and tried. My lips journeyed down to his neck and I was rewarded of his frustrated groan that made me tremble so much. Puno ng init ang aking bawat halik. Isinusukli lamang ang kanyang ibinigay kanina ngunit parang tinanggihan iyon ni Gab nang hilahin ako pabalik at balansehin. I want you so much, more than you know. More reasons we need to go slow. Gab was out of breath, his pupils dilating as he shook his head. Pumasok yon sa aking tainga at lumabas sa kabila. My hands smoothed his collar and tie, while I tried to kiss him on my face. Gently, deep, in need, since the last 3 years. Just trying to show that going slow wouldn't do right now. I gave one last kiss on the top of his upper lip bago si Gab mismo ang nag-ayos ng aking upo sa kanyang mga hita. He cursed out loud as he gave it to me. He made me straddle him, completely losing to his blazing desire that was too evident below me. He was warm in all places and hard, rough, and huge. I gasped when he maneuvered himself in between my thighs to accommodate his hardness more. His strings of curses followed, as well as his hot, torrid kisses. Sa pamamaraan ng kanyang paghawak at pagdiin sa akin ay nakakaliyo. Nag-aapoy ang punot dulo ng lahat sa akin. When his hand flew to caress the top of my breasts, I just couldn't understand a single thing except the lustrous language that we're speaking right now. Gab! Oh, God! Marahas akong kumalas sa kanyang mga labi upang sumigaw. His hand left the first mountain to claim its twin. My mouth couldn't kiss because of my constant whimpers. Gab's mouth felt so hot on my neck and I grasped his in return as I grinded against his maleness. Gab, it's a wrong move to even push the dizzying pleasure, but this didn't feel a bit wrong. Grinding repeatedly, the light in my eyes seemed to be consumed by the fire in my veins. Fuck, get damn it, Chris. Napamura si Gab at agarang tumayo habang karga ako sa ganoong posisyon. My eyes felt like sleeping from the immense pleasure, but seeing the veins on Gab's neck and at the side of his head made me crazier with want. Seeing him that affected made it 10 times hotter that I made him desire me this much. So frustrated and needy. Napayakap ako sa kanyang liig. Ramdam ang kanyang mararahas na paghinga sa pagtatama ng kanya sa akin dahil sa kanyang paglalakad. I was disposed to the bed rather a bit rough. His eyes immediately turned apologetic, but I reached my hands out to him to remove his offending clothing. My pants were discarded long time ago, so I was now only sporting my panties and my white spaghetti strap. I couldn't help but to marvel how harsh Gab's suit appeared against my soft clothing. Mabilis kong hinila ang kanyang necktie at isinunod naman ang long sleeves ng matanggal iyon. Sumigidang muli ang mga labi ni Gab sa akin. I had to close my eyes, and then the next thing I knew, my top and my bra disappeared. Tanging suot ang panty at tiningalas ko si Gab na nagtatanggal ng kanyang long sleeves habang madilim akong tinitingnan. The way his eyes spoke in different languages of lust and desire made the heat in my body unbearable. I was feeling exposed under his stare that promised of the wildest, filthiest things that he'll do to me. In urgency for that, my hands helped him get out of his offending clothes. His button-down flew away and I reached for his belt buckle. Nagulat ako sa malalim na pagdaing ni Gab. Fuck, that was so hot. Tanong ang isinulat ng aking mga mata nang umahon si Gab at tumayo sa gilid ng kama. I propped on my elbow only to look at him taking charge to take care of his remaining clothes. When I finally saw him, I wondered just how that large, Masculinity had been inside me for the first time. The pain I felt that night would surely be tripled now that I was looking at it. We're doing this. We both wanted this. Say that you want this, or the fear in Gab's eyes flashed in a second. I want you. Gusto ko ito. Gustong gusto. Tumango ako sa kanya. Nangingilid ang mga luha dahil sa ilang beses na pagpaparamdam niya sa akin ng langit. I looked down to see how I was physically surrendered to him once more. The pain had already registered and was not fast increasing if he wouldn't speed up. Kumapit ako sa kanyang balikat nang muling sumugod siya at umatras. So fucking tight. Veins protruded on his neck as he fought for control. Hindi ako mapakali sa kanyang mga pagdadahan-dahan. Ang isang kamay ko ay nakasabunot sa kanya at ang isa naman ay nakakapit sa poste ng aking kama. I closed my eyes as he started to kiss all my bruises and scars so tenderly. Sa aking pulsuhan, sa aking braso, sa aking hita, sa aking leeg at gilid ng ulo. The last destination of his hot mouth was the sides of my breast, only to close it around its top. Oh, God. Gab! I trashed on my bed as his tongue began moving in circles. His hand was placed on the other, pinching and rolling. He then switched, staying inside me as he did so. Umahon si Gab at ibinalik ang mga labi sa akin. I grinded for him to move and he didn't stop me this time. While grinding, Gab looked at me and harshly bit his lips as if considering something. Suddenly, he grabbed one of my ankles to lift it on top of his ripped lower back. He lifted the other leg and rested it between his neck and shoulders. I couldn't breathe properly, but when he entered again, my eyes rolled back. I felt every inch of him this way. Ang mabagal at dinadamdam niyang pag-atake ay naging mas mabilis at mas marahas. Tanging ang pagtupok lamang ng umaatikabong apoy sa aking katawan ang gusto kong mangyari. At para mangyari yon ay sa paggalaw lamang ni Gab. He kept saying things to me in his beautiful foreign language, pounding repeatedly as he did so. My breast swayed with the rapid rhythm that I tried to match. It did nothing but to push his restraint, ramming unto me so hard that I already reached another level of heaven. Malayo na ako sa realidad at sakit. Tanging ang mundo ko sa oras na ito ay ang paghahari ng aking nararamdaman para kay Gab at ang kanyang ipinararamdam sa akin. I love you and I will love you until they all realize it. I will bend everything for the world to accept this, he's whispering. Gab gave me a deep and straight strokes that he reached beyond my sanity, his thrust becoming more frantic and brutal. I felt him reach the heavens as he filled all of me. At dito na po muna natin tatapusin ang ating pagbabasa sa ngayon. Kung nagustuhan mo ang episode na ito, pahit naman ng like button dyan and comment down below. At kung hindi ka pa nakapag-subscribe sa aking channel, hit the subscribe button at bell all na rin para ma-notify ka kung kailan lalabas ang bago nating upload. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat!